Hey, bronies.
What's up, gamers?
It's your boy, Ben, and
It's me, Sean.
hey, this is a podcast that we're doing. We're a bit unprepared, but who cares? Anyway, so today we decided to talk about Unfriended 2, The Dark Web, because that's the most recent movie we've watched together. But first, how you doing, Sean?
I'm doing A-okay. How about you?
Pretty good. This soup that I got from Target is pretty good. It's like tofu mushroom or something like that.
Sounds like something I'd never eat, but I'll respect your...
Yeah, I thought I'd try something new. And it goes great with Rockstar Energy, who doesn't sponsor us, but I've been drinking at work. Anyway, Unfriended. The sequel to Unfriended.
Want to talk about Unfriended at all?
Yeah, sure. So for those who don't know, Unfriended is a movie that came out in 2014 that was filmed to look like a Skype call, or it was basically like a recording of somebody's Skype call between five people.
Like, the way it was formatted was the entire movie was like person's laptop screen view. And so you can't really see anything outside of the laptop, so majority of the time there's a Skype call or going
It would be like if somebody hit
Facebook.
screen. Yeah.
Sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, it would basically be if like somebody hit screen record and just recorded what they were doing on their desktop.
Yeah.
And so we'd see like Facebook or LiveLeak or YouTube or unexplainedforums.net where they go to. And
go to when anything unusual happens. I'm just like, unexplainedforums.net, answer my questions.
Anyway, the basic plot is these 4 or 5 friends are like hanging out, and on the anniversary of one of their friends' deaths, and that friend comes back to haunt them.
Was she even their friend?
I mean, like, they kind of all hated each other.
Oh, that's true. They were all kind of... That was the one thing of the first movie. They were all...
They were bad people. But so...
Are we cursing on this? Is that okay or no?
Oh, cursing? I'm fine with cursing as long as it's not like a slur.
As long as it's not within the first minute of the video. But yeah, the first movie's characters were pretty much all just a bunch of hats. They kind of deserved what they had coming.
Yeah.
And that is one thing that differed in the second movie. They seemed...
Except for the main character.
Well, yeah, the main character of the second was not... He was the worst of all the characters, aside from villains. He wasn't very relatable.
Yeah.
Rather annoying, and was not too well aware of the situation around him, I feel.
But back on the first movie, like, just basically, to sum it up, the movie was kind of a piece of shit, but it was a funny piece of shit. I and Sean and later some of our friends, when we had them watch it, had a blast watching it. And I think that came from the just unintentionally stupid and funny moments, like Unexplained Forums kind of became like a running gag in it, almost like a punchline where she'd be like, "Oh my God, I gotta get to Facebook." And she types in Facebook and it would just redirect her to unexplainedforums.net.
I think in regards to these two, for me, it's kind of got like a Paul Blart Mall Cop vibe to it.
Really?
In the way that both movies are not good from like an ordinary standpoint. But when you're looking from the so bad it's good, first movie's got it. The second movie, well...
Yeah, but we'll get to that.
Unfriended Darknet or Dark Web, whatever the hell it's called. I think it's got a little more of that so bad it's good than Paul Blart 2. But regardless, both movies fail to live up to the first reputation.
Yeah. So with the first one, I actually kind of liked the characters in the first one a bit more, not from like a writing standpoint. I think in both cases they're just not great, but in the first one it was funnier to watch those characters. In the second one, I was bored with these new characters.
Yeah, the first one, it definitely had the characters as more they were a bit
oh,
sorry. You go ahead.
Sorry. This is going to happen a lot, by the way.
Yeah.
The first movie, they were all caricatures and ridiculous, but the movie, it was kind of by accident, and it worked when you're watching it as a comedy. So it's like, you got the character Mitch, who I remember, who was like really, really crazy. Like he had a gun with him and stuff. The fat kid was kind of funny.
Yeah.
It seemed kind of unintentionally ridiculous. The second movie, the characters they made,
the difference for me, one of the big differences in the fact that the characters were all caricatures. It seemed less realistic that they would be a legitimate friend group. While the second movie, I do think the characters were less caricaturistic. I mean, you could see them being a legitimate friend group, but they just were not interesting to watch. I mean, I found myself ignoring them as much as the main character half the time.
I sort of disagree with the caricature thing for the second one, because I think at least one of them were, but it was
the one guy was.
It seemed like they were trying to be ridiculous, at least with that one character, but it failed. Like the character we're referring to is basically Joe Rogan. He's not Alex Jones, but he's still like kind of got that weird conspiracy theory.
Yeah, he's got his whole podcast thing going.
Yeah.
It really makes sense that he kept saying that he was like totally off the grid, and what are you talking about?
Yeah, he's like, I've got assault rifles in my shed or something like that in case the government blah blah blah. He was so stupid. I did think though one of his lines was funny, where they were like, oh my gosh, guys, they're tracking our IPs, and he's just kind of like, no, they're not. His name was he AJ?
Yeah, that was AJ.
Yeah. That was AJ. With the rest of the characters, they were obviously, we said not great, but like they were really, really boring. There was one girl, the Asian girl, who like had 2 lines.
Yeah,
and
she. Spoiler alert. Wait, are we doing spoilers here?
Who's gonna care about Unfriended 2?
Good point. Spoiler alert, she died before she could actually contribute anything to the story outside of a couple hands of Cards Against Humanity.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was basically she was just there to die first and have the other characters react.
There was the guy in England, I think, who really didn't contribute much other than, we've got a hacker.
Yeah.
And then the couple, which was too grounded for me, because it was like,
the couple did seem very grounded. That's true.
Yeah, they like, everybody else seemed like they browsed the internet a lot, besides the Asian girl, who I didn't know anything about her, kind of forgot she existed. But like, you got the hacker guy, you've got AJ, the conspiracy nut, and then you've got the main character who was boring, and I didn't see where the couple fit into that dynamic. Like, why would the lesbian couple hang out with AJ, the conspiracy nut, or I'm gonna check their names, Damon the hacker, kind of thing? I don't know. It was, the characters were bad. The plot was pretty bad. I going in thought that it would be that they decided to fuck around on the darknet one night and all this happened, but it was more complicated than that, unnecessarily.
I gotta say, one of my biggest problems with the movie, in comparing it to the first one, this is in comparison. The first one, I think the villain aspect was a bit more interesting in that it's the ghost of the deceased Laura Barnes, and so it's like, oh, you can have all these supernatural powers, you can do whatever the hell she wants through the computer and whatever. And the second one, it's this hacker, or not even hacker. It was a dark web man, which turns out to be a bunch of like underground people. And I mean, some of the parts didn't make sense. How like, oh, they're being magically glitched out on cameras. It's like, come on, that's just BS. Unless they're like Marvel superhero tech gods, like magic superpowers or whatever. That's just plain stupid. It's not gonna. It doesn't work like that.
I also thought like the way the series of events unfolded was just needlessly complicated. Like it wasn't, as I said, it wasn't just them discovering Darknet and being like, "Oh, let's see where we could go," and then like they accidentally hire a hitman on themselves or something.
Yeah.
It was like this guy worked at an internet cafe. Which, first off, do those things even exist anymore?
Well, I don't know.
Like I feel like those were popular in like the 2000s when like not everybody had a computer, but like I mean they may exist, but whatever. Anyway,
they do exist. I know they exist in Japan at least.
For those listening, he's got the anime avatar.
Yeah, I'm the weeb man. For the most part.
Which is fine. I'll probably edit this out because this is awkward. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah. The main character works at an internet cafe, and basically he steals a computer from the Lost and Found, which I wouldn't even count stealing because it was there for like 3 weeks. They said in the movie, like I mean, he's not coming back for it. But so then he logs in, and the guy whose computer it is like starts saying like, "Dude, give me my computer back," through like Facebook or something.
Yeah, through Facebook. It's the stupidest thing in these two movies is they constantly use Facebook as a viable means of communication. And I mean, maybe this is just me. I don't know if much people older than us use Facebook as a legitimate messenger often.
Older than us?
Yeah, because I just I don't know that, but I feel like don't use Facebook for a messenger that much unless they're like a generation above.
Messengers maybe not, but I know like I think Facebook is really just old people at this point.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have one, but I only just got it because for like school. Nobody uses Facebook anymore except for like old people. So I guess that's a bit unrealistic. It was more realistic in like 2014, but like, yeah.
Maybe this is just coming from a bunch of Redditors. Who knows?
Yeah.
My uses Facebook, so who knows?
Yeah. Anyway, you bring up a good point though. They constantly use Facebook Messenger when there's a constant like threat in the movie that the hackers can see their computer screens, so they don't want to like message each other secretly.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like Facebook with like the elite group.
Yeah, and I'm gonna quote the Diablo guy from that announcement. Don't you guys have phones? Like they could have used their phones and solved a lot of this. It was pretty dumb, in my opinion, how they were like they couldn't just text each other like secretly. But
one other thing, I don't. What was with the whole like the river app? I mean, what? That just seemed really weird. I mean, it seemed like they were just using it as communication for the most part, as far as I know. But like,
I think that's what it was.
I mean, what was with the whole like Minecraft river background thing? Like, what was the point of that? I mean, who did one of the like evil hackers just like make this evil messaging app, and they were just like, "Oh, dude, this is so lacking. I really need like a Minecraft river behind this so I can like get some relaxation in while I'm requesting hits so like holes can be bored in women's skulls. I need Minecraft for that."
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was just to like maybe scare the audience, but it did a horrible job because like unless they threw in a creeper, it wouldn't have been that scary.
Oh man.
But like they had a weird kind of, I think it was a plot device where the girlfriend of the main character is deaf, so he had to use like this program.
Yeah.
I thought that was. I mean, I don't know what that was there for. Like, I mean, it just seemed very. It seemed like it was going to set up for something, but from my memory, I don't think it did. Other than like maybe
the very finale, like when she went to the place and it hacked the guy's computer to like do the message to say like go in.
Oh, maybe. And I guess also there were some situations that where she was in her apartment with some murderer, and he had to like call out to her, but she couldn't hear him. It seemed like in the end it seemed pretty unnecessary, but
it seemed like it was kind of for convenience, and maybe they were doing it to try and be clever. But with that, what was that one horror movie that came out semi-recently? I don't know if it was like a year or so ago. I think
the one where the girl was deaf?
Yeah.
Silence, I think.
Yeah. I feel like it's like thinking about that movie, they were probably just doing it and trying to be clever and like, it's a new take on it. But it did nothing for him.
Yeah, because these movies aren't like that well written, and for some reason they get like good scores. I don't know if the second one did, but the first one was like
the second one has better scores than the first, I think.
It does?
I believe so. At least on
I'm gonna double check that, but I remember like the first one being somewhat critically acclaimed.
I'm just taking the Letterboxd to account right now.
Okay.
Letterboxd Unfriended has a 2.4, while Dark Web has a 2.8.
Oh wow. Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes it has a 60%. Dark Web does. I think the first one had around that same one. That's
higher than like Mars Attacks.
Yeah.
I mean that's from what, the 50s. I mean, Mars Attacks isn't that great. I personally like it. It's certainly made with a lot of quirk, and I'm sure that's kind of what partially led to its low average review score. But I mean, it's getting a 60. Whew.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I was just double checking
that in the 50s.
Yeah, it bad. I don't know. I guess I can't think of that much else. The kills. So in the first one, they made a little bit of sense. I think they were set up a bit too obviously. Like the fat guy holding up the blender in his room. He's like, I got a blender in my room, you guys. I'm making this special salsa. But like, you know, the girl with the straightener doing her hair, Mitch with the gun, the knife as well. It was somewhat set up. The ones in this one were weird, I think.
They were not nearly as entertaining.
Yeah.
Or like, okay, I will say, I thought AJ was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. So
of all the deaths, they all kind of suck except that one.
So I'll just run down what the deaths were. The Asian girl who was just like nothing. She was pushed off a roof. Bada bing, bada boom. AJ was they got videos of his podcast and strung together shit like him saying like the government is corrupt, or I have a bunch of assault rifles stowed away.
Like, I'm going to the mall today, and so edited together. So it's like I'm going to the mall with my rifles, like, shoot up the place or something like that.
And then and so they
sent that to the police.
Or they called the cops and they just played that recording, and then they showed up and like the SWAT team showed up, and what they did was they had a
and like so like AJ's like going up there, he's like got his hands up, but they can't see him yet, of course. And then they get his computer to start like blasting shotgun sounds.
Yeah.
Like shotgun loading thing. So
that was pretty.
Shoot him down. So I did think that one was one of the best deaths.
So the next death was I think one half of the couple. That one was kind of funny in my opinion.
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Because like the setup was you have to make a choice: your dying mother or your fiance. And this girl's like, I don't know what to do. And for the mother, they just turned off her
life support.
Yeah, but for the fiance, they pushed her in front of the train that the main character's girlfriend was on. So then they could get to her more easily. And that was kind of a funny visual. After that, I don't even remember what happened to the
other girl.
Yeah, the other girl.
I actually can't remember either.
Was she choked out?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think I remember her lights going off, and then went offline. So I think
the next one was the guy who was forced to hang himself or something.
Oh well, he was. They broke into his place and hung him.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Which looked really, again, comical. Just looking because it was in the background a bit.
Kind of looked like Danny DeVito hanging himself in Always Sunny.
Yeah.
Don't try and stop me. So
that level of comical, it was just like, oh, that's happening. Okay.
Yeah. So I want to because I have more to say surrounding the final death because these movies can't help themselves. Just for more background, in the first movie, what happened was the ghost of Laura Barnes revealed to the world by posting on a Facebook account that Blair, the main character, was the one who posted the video that caused her to kill herself. And so everybody turned on Blair. And, a good movie would have said something like, oh, or would have done something like, oh, she now has to live with the fact that everybody hates her and sees her as a monster. And maybe she kills herself, but they just ended it with her dying. And
the laptop closes and you see the ghost kind of standing there and rushes at the screen and credits roll.
Same thing happens in the second one. Basically, what they do is they what is it? They frame him for the death of this one girl, or the kidnapping of this one girl.
Kidnapping of the girl they'd kidnapped for their whole time ring, whatever.
Yeah, the whole
or a hole in her head.
And they that's why they had the guy hang himself because
and it's revealed that they had set him up the whole time.
But then
they're like, oh, let's take a poll to see whether he lives or dies. And it's well, what's the...
And instead of doing what they should have done, his life is ruined, they hit him with a bus.
Yeah. Well, was it a bus or was it a van? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It was funny regardless.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a jump scare, but it came out of nowhere. It was ridiculous, and these people. I mean, I wish they knew.
It wasn't even well done. The first one ending it had a cheap horror feel to it, but I mean, it felt fine. It was a good it was if they were going that route, that was as good of an ending as they were. It wasn't even a scare. It was just kind of street recording. A guy gets hit by a car or something, and it's done.
Yeah, it was.
Then we see Hacker Man at his big monitor or whatever.
Oh God, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what even was that? Oh geez, I don't even know why they did that. That was
Man is the villain, and he got away with it.
Yeah, Jesus. And what makes me angry about these movies is that the presentation can be done well, the whole recording the screen, and it has. There was this recent movie called Searching, which I thought did the concept really well. It wasn't perfect, but it was still very, very good because they didn't just over explain everything. The pacing was good. They left a lot up for the audience to put the pieces together and interpret. It wasn't all just oh, we got to have an excuse for him to have his laptop or his camera here or something like that. They would do stuff the next day, the police would call the guy and go okay, you need to calm down. Why? We saw the video. And then on YouTube, it's him beating up one of the suspects or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was really well done. again, not perfect, but very well done. And it kind of makes me a bit angry at these movies because they're taking a concept and wasting it.
Yeah.
These movies are terrible, and the first one, as funny as it is, it's not good.
No, it's not. I didn't think the second one could be worse, but
It was.
it is. I kind of wish I could give like first one like a 1 star, and then the second one like I don't know, less
Half.
than 1 star. Yeah,
I just
it leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
Like, I don't know. I love like So Bad It's Good movies, but like when they're just boring, uninteresting, it's hard to just come up with comedy. So in the end, I think I gave number 2 a half on Letterboxd.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it just not good. But anyway, I guess that's all I have to say about this. Do you have anything else that you remembered or anything?
I think I've unloaded pretty much all I have to say.
Yep, terrible movie. But you know what's a pretty good movie? Dollar Shave Club. So in terms of stuff I saw recently, I rewatched Indie Game the movie and I liked it. Have you seen Indie Game the movie?
Nope, I have not. Documentary, I assume?
Yes, it centers around the production of 2 games and like the kind of aftermath of one game being released. This was back in 2012, so it was Super Meat Boy.
Yeah.
Fez.
Fez. Sounds
it's
familiar.
The one where
No, you go ahead.
It's the one where like you've got the little character has the Fez, and it's a 2D side scroller, except you can rotate the world or something. It's hard for me to put into words, but like it's a 3D world, but you play at a 2-dimensional. You play it in a 2-dimensional way, and you can like rotate the world.
So I'm thinking like Super Paper Mario.
Probably. Here Noah's played it. Our friend Noah. So you could ask him a bit more about it, but it's.
Here, I'll just take your word for it.
Yeah.
What about the movie?
It's pretty cool. And the aftermath of the game Braid being made.
Oh yeah, Braid. Yeah.
So I thought it was great to see like the production and the mental health, I guess. That's the only word I can think of these creators, both like during and after the process of making a game. Super Meat Boy's production was the best one to watch because I think it was the most. It had the best ending because throughout the movie, you see. I'm just gonna Google their names real quick just to so I can say it accurately. But you see the creators, Edmund McMillan and Tommy Riffines. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but how they deal with like making it, all the bugs that come across it, and like the release pressures and stuff. And Tommy in particular like had a lot riding on it, and he was like basically ready to give up on life if this movie was if this game wasn't like popular or good or well received. So it was great seeing it be released and like have the big impact that it did. And I was happy to see that. The Fez one was interesting because I don't know how. So you don't know much about the game. Do you know much about the creator Phil Fish?
Not offhand.
Okay, so Phil Fish is basically after Fez came out, he started work on Fez 2, and I'm probably getting this wrong because I don't remember the story that well, but he had a meltdown on Twitter got into some argument with some game journalist where he got a lot of blowback and hate for it. And it ended with him canceling Fez 2 and quitting the game industry altogether. So it was weird to watch that and kind of see him operate because like he had all these, he kind of had some I won't say anger issues, but like because a lot of what was going on in his life was anyone would act that way, but you could definitely see what was like went into the like meltdown, I guess.
Yeah.
And the braid guy, I think the first time I watched this, I hated that segment because I thought he was being very pretentious. Because like there's a segment where they show Soulja Boy playing Braid, and Soulja Boy is like just messing around and saying like, "Oh, look what you could do," and then he jumps off a cliff and rewinds, and he's like, "You can't die in this. This is stupid." and then the guy's like, they don't get it, like they. And he's kind of. It seemed like he was complaining that Soulja Boy didn't get his game, which, come on,
Right.
Like, I mean, I get it because Soulja Boy is a successful game developer now, but and I guess my joke didn't land well. Soulja Boy made game consoles, audience.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry, I was forgetting about that.
Oh, you're fine.
For some reason, I wasn't thinking Soulja Boy. I don't know why. You said Soulja
Yeah.
Boy, and I was thinking Snoop Dogg, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
I don't know why I mixed those two up. Yeah, no. Wow, that was just me being out of it. That wasn't you making a bad joke.
Oh, okay. Anyway, but
my
so
bad.
but then now having kind of like grown up and created art of my own, I see where he was coming from, and I was a bit more mature about it. He wasn't necessarily saying Snoop Dogg doesn't get it. He was more saying like how the response that you get from people will never be what you wanted, because in his case, he took his heart out and put it into this game.
Sure.
And when people are kind of playing it, they'll get their own experience, but it'll never kind of live up to what you were thinking or something like that. And I thought that was pretty interesting, having seen that. But yeah, I like there was really good music in it. I'll have to look up the guy who did it, because I think he did music for some other game. It was sorry.
For Braid?
No, for the movie. Indie game.
Oh, for the movie. Okay.
Shit. Yeah, it doesn't matter, or maybe it does. I apologize, but it was very good music. And you could really, it did a good job of like conveying the stress of being a developer, which I really liked, because it mirrors a lot of like any creative process, really, and like building process. Did you see anything else? Because I've got one or two more things, but I want to let you speak a bit.
I haven't seen anything too recently. Aside from one movie, is Evil of Frankenstein that I watched like 2 nights ago, but I don't really feel like talking about that much. There's nothing to go over there.
All right. Have you played any of your video games or watched any shows or anything?
I haven't been watching much recently. Been watching a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. That's
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. How's that?
Well, a bit disappointing. Like I'm on the 3rd season, and mind you, viewers, I'm watching English dub, which I don't usually watch things in the dub. There's like maybe 4 or 5 shows total that I watch dubbed. I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! Dub because I don't really like to take it too seriously. But season 3, it's the final dubbed season. I don't know if I'm gonna watch season 4 since it's subbed, and dub versus sub scenario of Yu-Gi-Oh! In general is very different because of the whole 4 kids, very censored and changed things out. And it's completely stupid, but I love the GX dub for it. It's stupidly funny and at plenty of bits. But season 3, getting through it. My favorite character, Bastion, had finally come back for a while. Now he's staying behind again in the episode I watched last night, and I was, oh, why are you taking him out again? So that's just a bit sore point for me. I'm not really that broken up. I'm not gonna lie. But other than that, I haven't really been watching too much new stuff. Dr. Stone is currently ongoing, and I've been watching some of that. That's entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm going to go read the manga for it, but I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes from where it stands right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I have too much more to say than that.
All right. I I guess really the only other thing I'd want to talk about here is I recently watched, in quotation marks, a documentary
Oh boy.
made by infamous YouTuber iDubbbz.
Oh.
And YouTuber documentaries aren't good most of the time. I have yet to find one that I really like. I'll admit it. I have no shame. I watch the Shane Dawson documentaries because I heard everybody loved them, and I had to see for myself if they were worth anything. They weren't. It was shit like the story behind Tanacon, the psychology of Jake Paul. That one was really disgusting.
Sounds like game theory.
Yeah, it kind of was, except Shane Dawson would interview people, and Jake Paul one was disgusting because he was like diagnosing him with sociopathy, which he's not a psychologist. He can't do that.
Yeah, I feel like again, game theory will like if they were like diagnosing like a video game character or something, I mean that's fine. It's like kind of a joke. I mean, no one cares if you're diagnosing a video game character. No one cares if Symmetra is technically autistic, confirmed by Overwatch. No one cares about that.
Yeah.
If you're talking about real people and you're like you don't know that person. I mean, we definitely don't have any good impressions of some of the celebrities like the Paul brothers. But like you said, we're not psychologists. We're not psychiatrists. We have we're not in a spot to be judging them and making assumptions on that level.
Yeah.
It's just unprofessional.
And I don't want to spend too much time on the Jake Paul thing, but like I do want to mention, to save face, he hired a psychologist, or he got a psychologist YouTuber who, to be fair, has a degree, but she is honestly, I think, very unprofessional, because the way she talked about sociopaths was, and like villainizing them, which I know for a fact that a lot of sociopaths aren't like inherently evil. They just can't feel empathy, really. And she's saying stuff like icky and stuff. Maybe I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember, but I know she was saying stuff like that, and it was just terrible. But yeah, point is, the Shane Dawson documentary is not good. This one from iDubbbz is, I don't know why I watched. I think it was in my recommended for a while, and one day I just decided to pop it on, see what it was like, and I was honestly very disappointed in iDubbbz. I used to be a fan. I haven't really been a fan that much.
I never really watched iDubbbz too strongly. I've seen a couple of his videos, but just kind of here and there. I was never an avid fan or anything.
Yeah, I think I kind of grew up in a sense, because like his style of humor was funny to me in 2016, and maybe it was good that he like went on a big break, kind of, because I was able to grow and mature out of that kind of sense of humor. And so I went into that knowing that his sense of humor, last I watched him, was kind of immature. But okay, so the crux of the documentary is there's this YouTuber named Fatty Airsoft, I think. And he's this guy who does lightsaber fights in his backyard, and cooking videos, vlogs, just really a ton of stuff. And iDubbbz, I guess, was fascinated with him, so he wanted to do like I spend a couple days with Fatty Airsoft, see what his life is like, his day to day. And the way it was edited and like the way it was presented and how iDubbbz kind of did like these asides was really mean spirited. Because this guy from the video, he seemed like a pretty nice guy. He was like, he's large, obviously. And
Sure.
thank God there weren't that many like, you know, kind of jokes about his fat, but it was his house is kind of like run down. It's basically like remember when we went to Hocking Hills and we saw like that kind of hillbilly town beforehand?
Yeah.
It was kind of like that. But he seemed really nice. Like he was funny. He didn't take himself too seriously and stuff. But he seemed very content with what he did. He was like, yeah, I know it's embarrassing, but you know, I'm having fun. I just want to do this kind of stuff. But iDubbbz would like make these kind of like glances at the camera anytime he'd be showing them like, oh, this is what goes into me making one of my videos. And like they do add in like sound effects anytime he'd wipe his nose or something. It seemed just really mean. And there was one moment that I really didn't like where his friends came up and like just started like asking iDubbbz a ton of questions because I guess they were fans.
Yeah.
And he did throughout the video, he'd like cut back to him in his house, like, and explain the situation. And one thing he said was, so while I was dealing with the autism, I sent Benny to go film, Fatty Airsoft. And that kind of comment was like, dude, they invited you to your house. Like, just treat him with a bit more respect. I will say give him a bit of credit though. At the end, he did kind of try to save face where he was like, oh, you know, a lot of people may call him cringy, but if cringy is just living your life and having fun, then yeah, he's the cringe lord in a nice way.
Sure.
And I will also say one of the people who he interviewed, I think did deserve a lot the like, you know, oh, look at this weirdo, because oh boy. He was basically he said shit like I'm trying to put it into words. He was like a psychopath, basically. And it was somebody who Fatty Airsoft had like been beefing with. Like one of his friends, like they kind of didn't like each other. The guy was into weaponry. And
okay.
And he said shit like, if I die, then the world is doomed. And he had that like 1,000-yard stare, and there's this one moment which I think was very, very funny. And it was iDubbbz is asking him why he like plays so rough in the lightsaber fights, and he says, well, because you know, I just do it like I would duel with blades, and you know, Fatty doesn't like to duel with blades, but so I just do with lightsabers. Have you dueled with blades? Yeah. With an actual person? Yeah. Is he still alive? I don't know. And it's one of those guys. It's very, very funny. He like had that stare and stuff. I loved it. But other than that, not a good documentary, quote unquote. Because I've seen documentaries like that. Minding the Gap comes to mind. And Minding the Gap is one of my favorite. I have it on my favorite movie list. And I've seen it twice, and both times it really affected me. But that kind of following around a person I like those kind of documentaries, but you have to approach it with an open mind if you want it to be like worth anything. You can't go in thinking this person is weird. Look at this. It's better to take everything at face value and show the footage of this person for what it is, because that is the most interesting, you know? Like,
I'm trying to think of any other documentaries I've seen. I don't usually watch that many documentaries.
Me neither, but like I mean, I watch a few if I hear they're good. There's one I've been meaning to watch called The Act of Killing, which follows these murderers just like reenacting, or not murderers, like basically.
Gonna say if they're murderers, then I don't know if
well they are murderers, but it was like it's basically in the Philippines they were like killing communists in the area or something like that. It was awful, but at the same time it wasn't just like somebody killing a guy. It was ordered. And from what I hear, by the end, they like kind of existentially break down.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard that one was really good. I watched Finding the Freedmans, which was very good. I don't want to go much into that because I went into it blind. And but yeah, documentaries.
Oh, sorry.
Nah, I didn't. I mean, I want to hear what you had to say. I didn't have much.
No. You're just saying you went in with without knowing anything. So I just guessing you think that's the best experience for that movie.
Finding the Freedmans.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think with most documentaries, that's the best one. Other than like, there's one called The Jinx, which is I heard is very good, but it's kind of hard to avoid spoilers for that because it was a sort of high profile thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically, they get the guy. It's about somebody who was murder and got off, and they accidentally got him to admit it. At the end. But I wanted to see like, and it was like high profile. So I remember seeing it on the news and being like, oh, I kind of want to watch that. But yeah, if there's nothing else, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
I don't know. The only like 2 documentaries I have listed on Letterboxd are Poverty Incorporated, which I think had some pretty good statements about like the whole situation with like poverty and like how just like general charity isn't necessarily the best, and it's not like helping to promote economic growth in like some areas. So like in Africa or something, they're like holding like it'll be like some charity will like come to a town and give them like a bunch of like this whole collection of donated shoes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well,
the Tom shoes or whatever.
I don't know. I'm just using this as an example. I don't.
Oh, okay.
It's been a while since I've actually. But so like they'll bring in a bunch of shoes and or they'll donate a bunch of like I don't know. Mm-hmm. And if you do that, it's going to like there's not going to be a market for a shoe. So if there's anybody who is like trying to, like make a living for themselves by like making or selling clothes or whatever, that's gonna hinder them. Nobody's gonna be buying shoes or anything from them. And it's stuff I don't know if that's the best example or whatever, but it's just kind of stuff like that that's not necessarily helping promote a self-sustaining economy in those areas. But it was kind of it was an interesting movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other documentary I've seen, I think you would really like it. It's Exporting Raymond.
Is that the one where
it's the one where it's like the director of Everyone Loves Raymond, or I forget if it's the director, the guy who does the show Everybody Loves Raymond, and he's going to Russia to try and like create a new sitcom that's like the Russian version. And it's really funny, just like some ways like that it's not going well. And he's like, the directors are funny. Just like some of the interactions, like I don't believe that this is happening here, and it was a really entertaining movie. Mm-hmm. And a good like kind of showing of like how some of the Russian history worked there.
Mm-hmm. I'll wrap this up soon, but like just glancing at the documentaries that I have, I didn't know Stop Making Sense, the Talking Head concert, is considered a documentary. As well as the Jackass movie.
That's considered a documentary?
I guess so, yeah. I guess anything that is just footage of people not acting is a documentary. I guess out of these, I'd recommend, like, out of the ones I'm just looking at, Lasagna Cat is counted as a documentary.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Did you watch that whole video?
I did, yeah.
I think I started watching it, but then I kind of fell asleep partway through.
I watched the whole thing before work. It was a mind-opening experience.
The pipe strip. Legendary.
Yeah. But I guess out of the ones I'm glancing at, Tickled is a really good one. Again, I don't want to reveal too much about it. Jackass 2 is a movie I really like. Mm-hmm. The Imposter, which is about a kid who goes missing, and then 4 years later they find him in Spain, but it's not him. It's a guy who's impersonating the kid, and the place it goes is very, very shocking. But yeah, other than that, Dear Zachary, don't look up anything about it.
Okay.
But yeah, this has been fun. Any movie you want to like recommend for next week that we could talk about, like us watching, or not next week, whenever we do?
You're asking me right off the bat like this. You want something that we haven't seen? Both of us haven't seen, or
Sure.
no matter?
I'll check my watch list.
I don't know. I'd need to do some looking. I don't know if I can think of anything off the top of my head. What genre?
Yeah. So, how about we watch? I have a couple of animated movies that I know are bad on my watch list.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to watch one? Would you be down to watch one of those?
List
Like
them off.
Sherlock Gnomes,
Oh no.
Hotel Transylvania 3,
I'd need to see the first two.
The Grinch, Despicable Me 3,
I'd be more willing to watch that.
Angry Birds the movie,
Oh boy.
Secret Life of Pets.
I don't even know if I want to bother with the Secret Life of Pets. It seemed. I mean, it was by Illumination, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really want to touch more Illumination.
Sing.
Grinch was Illumination too, wasn't it?
Yeah. So Sing.
Oh yeah. Sing, especially don't want to touch because I remember seeing. I don't know if it was a 4chan post or what, but it was like this one person's room, and it was just plastered with images and like figures of the gorilla everywhere. And I just saw that, and I was like, that doesn't seem right.
Trolls.
Like, I got like a gorilla bread spread, gorilla posters, and his oh boy,
Trolls.
When did that even come out?
2016 allegedly.
Oh, feels like it was less time ago, but I don't know.
Or The Boss Baby.
Oh, Boss Baby. No, you mean Academy Award, not Boss?
Precisely.
I'd be up for that.
All right. I'm down for that too.
I don't know if you want to do a backup or anything. We've always got Geostorm.
Yeah, that could be our backup. Geostorm is our backup. The best movie we've never seen. That we tried to watch, but the link was weird, so we ended up watching Spider-Man 3 instead.
You know what I'd like to get around to? Shin Godzilla.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch it for a while. Just because I thought it looked really good, and from the trailers that I saw, and the design for Godzilla seemed really cool. By the way, viewers, I'm a Godzilla fan. I haven't seen all the movies. I think I've seen about a third of them. I think I own about a third, close to it. I don't know.
I've seen it.
But I just learned like a week or so ago that the director behind Shin Godzilla is the same guy who I'm gonna try and pronounce it. I'm not sure if it's right. Hideaki Anno, who is also mastermind behind Evangelion.
I did hear that actually.
So
I heard like
made my interest in the movie like doubled. So I really want to see it now.
Yeah, that could be our backup actually instead of Geostorm.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember hearing like he had like almost had a mental breakdown after working on some Evangelion project, and so that Toho was like, "Hey, you want to direct Godzilla?" He's like, "Sure," and then he did.
I just heard that he wanted to direct a Godzilla movie for a long time. He got the chance to.
Maybe it's very possible because I heard it on another podcast that they were just joking because whatever Evangelion project he worked on was super depressing.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. Anyway,
script. You really should get around to watching it.
I will.
Sensation. I don't know if that's the best word to describe it, but it's something, all right.
Don't worry, I will. But with that said, I hope you enjoyed enough to come back. If you have anything to say about the movie we talked about or the topics, please say it in the comments. I love a discussion. But other than that, I'll see you guys next whenever.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
That's a copyrighted play by Ben Thompson and Gonzo.
Hit that like button. slap it right on the thumb.
Slap it like it deserves.